Charlie Talbert, welcome to the American Glutton podcast.
Ethan, thanks for having me, brother.
It's good to see you, dude. I haven't seen you in a while.
It has been exactly a couple days, plus a bunch of years.
Right, exactly. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I was actually going down memory lane by listening to your podcast. I was listening to like Patrick Renna and Will Friedle and those guys, and I was thinking about Blake Soper.
Yeah.
Oh man, that guy saved my life one night.
Did he?
Yeah, he absolutely did. I was feeling terrible about something. Oh, I lost a couple jobs in a row because of the way I looked, because I wasn't thin enough. And I was, God, I must have been in my late teens, and I was gonna do it, man. I was gonna get rid of me.
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
sitting in Sully's off of Van Nuys, and it's like 11 something at night. Got the weapon of choice, if you will, and I'm gonna have my last meal. And Blake pulls in with a buddy, and he sees me and he starts talking to me. He's like, we worked together on a movie, and he's like, hey, man, sister, she just got her eye jabbed with a pencil or something, and I got to go take care of her down in San Diego. I need a road dog. I'm not going to make the drive. And I left the weapon of choice there wrapped up and told the waitress there was something in the chair there, if she could get rid of it, and got in the car with him.
Wow.
And that was it. And then years later, I saw Riley Kiley performing, and my buddy Todd Gibbenheim, a huge fan of theirs, took me to go see him. And I saw Blake, and I told him, I was like, thanks, man. I appreciate you for being you.
That's amazing. Okay. What year did we meet in? 94, 95?
Yeah, you auditioned for Angus, right? We met in the
Yeah.
hallway there.
Yeah.
And that would have been October. No, that would have been August of 90, September of 94.
September of 94. 1994, Charlie. We're that's 29 years ago.
Dude, yeah, man. And you know what? Every time I've seen you since, it feels like the first time because you're awesome people. And it's like, oh, that's a good guy. And you learn, so you're super smart, by the way. I just want you to know, like every time I've hung out with you, I've like learned little tidbits about just life in general.
That's awesome.
Like whether it's in the audition room or whatever. It's like I was like, hey, cool. I'm more of a street smarts kind of guy.
Right. Well, okay. You said you lost out on some movies because of your size.
So
Is that weird? Because Angus was meant to be heavy.
Right. And right after Angus, there was a movie called The Mighty. That one I didn't lose because of my size. I lost it because of my general look with the main character that they got. But the second one was a TGIF show, and I got cast to play the bully. And it was, I think it was called Teen Angel. And we do the run-throughs, we did the table read, and then we do the final run-throughs for producers. And basically, they came to me, my agent came to me, and they're like, look, they don't like your body shape. They want somebody that's like a little more chiseled and looks tougher and basically in the body. And I was like, okay, I can handle this.
Right.
And I did not handle it well at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think I only lost roles for being too small.
Really?
Which is another side of the fucking weird way Hollywood works, you know. And by the way, I can't say that I know of one that I can pick one off the top of my head, but I have had casting directors, you know, because my weight has fluctuated so radically.
Right.
There was a point where I got a job and the casting director said, "I'm so glad we knew you were heavy again because we didn't want to see you. We thought you were too thin." And I was like, oh, okay, well,
Okay.
I'm glad I'm heavy again too.
I'm happy to be here.
This has worked for me somehow. Yeah.
I thought I was the only one that suffered with that. I can't tell you how many times in an audition I've went in with fishing wire around my neck to make myself look fatter and a
Right.
layer progression of clothes. I did that I went out for Varsity Blues in 3 different iterations for Billy
Yeah.
Bob. And Ron was a good friend. And the last one was the MTV version of it. And I was the narrator of the show. And I had to keep going into this room at MTV, Mary Jo Slater. I keep going into this room, keep going in. They're auditioning somebody in Canada on like TV. They're the kind of like Skype, and they're
Right.
watching his performance. And they bring me in, and they're like, "You adjust to this," and I did that. And then they hired me, and I said, "Great." And then as they hired me in the room, I cut the fishing wire off my neck, And then I pulled my clothes off down to my underwear. And I said, can you work with my real size? Or do I have to keep doing this? And they
Right.
were like, no, we can work with it. Of course, the show got canceled that day after
Oh my
after we signed
God.
contracts. So we got paid.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a fickle business,
It
but I'm
is a
feeling good
fickle business.
now.
Okay, good. You're feeling good now. What's the other day we were talking, you were heading to the gym. What is your attitude about your body today?
Dude, I gotta tell you, so I think it was July. I knew the strike was coming up, and I had some work to finish up in New York, and I just got done working for uh, Coppola. I just worked on Megalopolis,
Amazing.
and I was very very excited that this all happened, and that was a fluke that I got that. So I was trying to get in whatever little work I could get, and I said, you know what, I'm tired of being like this, like tired all the time. I'm tired of being like low energy, bummed out about things. I know the strike's coming. What can I do to like bring my energy up? And as I was heading back down from New York, I realized I had only had 5 cigarettes the entire drive. I don't like to fly. So I was like, I don't really need to smoke anymore. And I had been trying to quit before that. So I just kind of stopped at the gas station, took my cigarettes, a whole pack pretty much, and just threw it away and said, yeah, I can smoke whenever I want to. I just don't want to. And I haven't had one since July 5th. I haven't had
Wow,
a
that's
cigarette.
amazing.
And then like a couple days after getting home, JD Evermore, who you worked with on oh, with the oil, help me out.
Yes, I know
Horizon.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. What was
Holy
the project?
shit. Deepwater Horizon.
Yeah, yeah, Deepwater Horizon. And JD's my neighbor, and JD's like, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym. You want to go with me? And I was like, oh my god, I used to go to the gym all the time. I loved going to the gym because I had a chance to hang out with Farley just before he passed, and I was doing his brother's TV show, and I did in my impersonation of Chris for Chris. And he's like, "Ah, kid, you're gonna make me lose my job." I was like, "Stop it!" And he said to me, "He goes, just so you know, make sure they're laughing with you, not laughing at you." And that
Yeah.
kind of stuck with me. So I would go to the gym a lot before I moved to Louisiana, which is where I live now, and I forgot about that. And I forgot about the endorphins and basically just feeling good, the serotonin that comes from going to the gym. And I went with JD and I went for the hour and I was like, that's it. And I ordered a bunch of clothes and I have been going 3 to 4 days a week since,
That's
July.
amazing.
And I feel like $1 million. Like I talked to you about this after that weird dream I had where we were on set together. I was like, dude, I feel comfortable wearing white t-shirts now, and I have never felt comfortable as a man with like, boobs, essentially. I've never felt comfortable with a white t-shirt. And I go to the gym in like the white armor or like, spandex shirts, and I feel good. And
Yeah.
I don't feel self-confident about, self-conscious about what's going on here because everything's broadened and like I feel great, but I'm still maintaining my weight.
Right.
And I've always been between, since you've known me, 335 and 305.
Yeah.
And then there was a time that I had lost a bunch of weight, which I sent you a picture in your Instagram, where I was like, okay, I love this girl. There was this girl that I was totally in love with, and I was like, I want to get thin. I want to impress her. So I started doing 3,000 crunches a day, 1,000 in the morning, 1,000 in the afternoon, and then I would only eat carbs twice a week, and then I would just mow down on whatever I could, burgers wrapped in lettuce, and it's a terrible version of the Atkins diet. I was just winging it, and
Right.
I could throw on a large from Urban Outfitters with like room, and I was like, this is great, but it didn't match me. It didn't feel like me. I didn't like me. I didn't like my personality. It did not fit the mold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
man.
when I got like legitimately thin at one point and was so uncomfortable. Like
Right. What made you
just
uncomfortable? Like, what was it that?
I
I'm just
just
curious.
felt small. Like my sense of my sense of myself in space and time didn't match up to the reality, and I felt like, like imagine if you had a dream and you just woke up to be a smaller version of yourself, and like my depth perception was off. It was very weird. It just was like, this isn't right. And like I have like health as a metric I'm interested in now, and I have kids and a grandkid, and like so like I want to be around for them for a while, but I still do not have the desire to be modelish, girlishly thin, modelly thin, whatever it is. Like, you know, I like being a large guy.
And you're a bit taller too, right? Because I'm 6'2", you're six.
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, but you've got good height about you.
Yeah.
So losing that weight, it just feels like there's something missing. And to me, it was because I think I molded my personality around my size, and it was always, I mean, you know me, I've always been the gregarious type, and really that was only because of the way I physically looked and felt about my body. Honestly, if I could just be in a group of people and not talking and just enjoying something else, I would love that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a lot of effort to be the big guy.
True, and there's like an expectation that I think comes from that, and it's a little scary because in the business that we are in, what we look like almost defines us from the start, and then we redefine as they meet us and as we work and as we put ourselves out there, and they're like, "Oh no, there's more to this guy than, fat guy fall down, go boom, fat guy be big guy size, fat guy protector." There's all of that that's coming into play, and I'm only now realizing that and coming to terms with that as a performer. But still, I would tell you. So when I was working on that last project for Coppola, the mustache that I've been rocking now for the last, I don't know, 4, 5, 7 years has solely been a character choice
Right.
because it looks more empathetic, and people are looking at my face more than my body. It took me 25 minutes for me to agree to shave my mustache when I was standing in front of the costume designer. She designed Clockwork Orange's look, and I'm like, I don't, I really,
I
this
need
works
this.
more
This
than
is
I do. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And,
guys are
and,
gonna miss this when it's gone.
right. And I did it. I got rid of it. And to much to my happiness, but my mental chagrin for those few minutes where I was like, I'm losing the one thing, I'm losing that one thing that's my edge, being a
Yeah.
lovable big guy.
Well, I feel that way about my beard. Aging a bit. I'm almost 50, and having lost almost 300 pounds, which is quite a bit. I'm still very big, but I've lost nearly 300 pounds. I have a lot of loose skin around my face, and so me clean shaven, I think I don't recognize my face. It's horrific. And I was doing a video game of all things a few years ago, and I agreed to do this video game, and I went in and we were getting set up, and they were like, well, you have to shave. And I was like, I'm not shaving, there's no way I'm shaving. And they said, no,
Right.
no, none of this works with facial hair. We're going to paint dots on your face, and the cameras cannot pick out every single hair, and it just becomes a blur, so you have to shave. And that was traumatizing for me. And even when I go back and look at the pictures of myself from around then, I'm like upset. I can't believe you shaved your mustache. Good for you.
It was the opportunity, obviously, of a lifetime.
I mean,
And
yeah, I shaved my beard, and it was not for Coppola, so I feel like a little bit more of a whore than you were. I'd shave my beard for Coppola for sure.
it was one of those things, though, that you're right. It's like I don't feel like myself. There's so much about the self image, and I find that going to the gym, 3 to 4 times a week, it's not making me feel like, oh my gosh, you're doing it. This is amazing. And by the way, you are part of my inspiration
Thank
for
you.
continuing to go. So no, 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 thank you, because I've always looked up to you, as a performer, and it's one of those things, and as a person, obviously, but it's one of those things where doing that, it it fills the need instead of having chocolate. It fills the need instead of having a little chocolate with my Red Bull. It fills the need with just like a little chocolate, my Red Bull, and maybe a pizza for dinner, and like not moving for like whatever an entire series of a show will be. Oh, you know what I mean? and it feels good. And I start my day that way. I wake up and I immediately go to the gym. I'm just like, obviously I bathe if I have to, but I go right to the gym and I'm just like, come on, man. Just and it also quells some of the things like not working for like 6, 7 months. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what? You're being productive. You're keeping this positive energy going, and you'll see me like your posts and stuff like that for American Glutton because I'm like, yeah, dude, yeah, that's right. Health, whatever it is, health, and nobody's perfect. That energy that you're taking in and putting out, that works in the brain too.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a weird thing the way we imagine ourselves, and I do think there's something to this point where um like I lost a lot of weight and was not happy. There's like so many factors that I wasn't thinking about with weight loss. Loose skin was a bummer. Just being super small, being like of quote unquote like average or normal size, I was uncomfortable. I wanted to be larger. And so I had to figure out how do I do that. But I think you can like have this idea of like I want to lose weight and then be unhappy with it and go like I'm not doing this. Why am I putting effort into something that's making me unhappy, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing is because we think to me it's like, oh, the outcome is going to be greater than how I'm feeling. This is fine. I'll just eat this. I'll eat this shit
Yeah,
pie,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's gonna be great when I come out the other end, and it's never great.
And it's never great. And then like what you're doing where you're just going to the gym to feel better, you know, exercise is like from every study I've read on exercise, it is the best drug known to man. So like we're just feeling better. It's going to make you healthy. You know what I mean? Like I think that's okay. There doesn't have to be more than that.
And I'm not. Let me put it this way. I would say in that respect, since I've never tried any other drugs in my life, I would say that working out is the best one of those drugs that I've tried.
Right.
And it really is better than anything. It's better than a lot of things. So in some ways, it's better than booking the role.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's better than just what it is for me, it's a sense of accomplishment
Yeah.
that I wouldn't get otherwise. And I'm still living the bachelor life. I'm actually living with one of my best friends in Louisiana, and the next move is New York. But it's one of those things where it's like, what do I want to feel like when I move to New York? What do I want to be? Who do I want to enter when I want to do stage work as an actor and things? How do I want to feel? Who do I want to look like? And I still want to look like me, but I want to feel way better than I've ever felt before. And for me, this is the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, dude. I'm really glad that you're doing that for the reasons that you're doing it. I do think people can, and I only say this because it was my experience and because I've spoken to people who do this, who go into the gym with the idea of killing themselves every day, or the not literally, but like, leave it all there. If you're not destroying yourself in the gym, what's the point? Um, or this idea of like some radical physical transformation. We see a lot of images in social media of guys with bodies that are like genetic and drug enhanced, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
like if that's the goal, like that's not a realistically attainable goal, number one, and number two, it's so hard. And then number three, how happy are you going to be when you get there? I've gotten super lean and maintained muscle, and it fucking sucks, dude.
I was about to say you gotta
It
the
sucks.
maintain alone.
Oh my god, it's a nightmare getting super lean. It's like horrible. All you're thinking about is food all the time, and then like to get a picture, that one picture, the last week you're like over drinking water for 5 days and then not drinking water or eating any salt so that your body purges it so you look really tight. And like my blood pressure was so low I would almost pass out doing this photo shoot. And then like on the day where I was like, "Oh my god, this is the body I want to have forever," I gained 9 pounds that day because it's none of it's real. You know what I mean? It's all just for to take a picture or something like that. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Right, right. I had thought about that. You talk about the skin having extra skin from all the weight loss, especially having it over a period of time. Because like when I got skinny, when you saw those pictures, um, there was this skin. I was just like, what do I do with this? Do I want to get this surgically removed, or do I want to be me and just be comfortable and not kill myself,
Right.
health wise.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get that. It's like, okay, well, what do I want to look like at the end of the week? Yeah, that's fantastic. But what can I look like and feel really happy about being that's not going to kill me to keep doing it? Like I said, I when I said I quit smoking, it literally was like I told myself, you know what? I can have a cigarette if I want. Right now, I could go outside, have a cigarette, and it's fine. I don't want a cigarette. I
Right.
haven't wanted a cigarette at all. And that's kind of what I'm doing with the gym is I'm telling myself, I'm not going to be some Greek Adonis. What I'm going to be is some dude that feels good about himself when he leaves. I worked with Kevin Smith about less than a month before he had his heart attack. My roommate, he also had a heart attack. He passed sadly, and it was one of those things where when that happened with Kevin, having just seen him, having always, like one of my first self tapes actually was from Mallrats.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was for Brody, and I was like, okay, this is cool. It's great meeting him. And then I sent him a message when he was I think it was in Glendale or whatever. And I was just thinking, you know, I'm so much bigger than him, you know. And then when my roommate passed, he was so much leaner than me, but he was going right back into exercising as if he'd been exercising since he was an NFL football player.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't go in there and give it like 1,010%. You got to slow roll your body into it. And I said, you know what? From that point, when that happened with Kevin, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. I just need to be a little bit healthier with how I eat and how this happened. And then when my roommate passed, and that was in March, I he had a heart attack, and I didn't. It was one of those things where it was a wake up call about, hey man, how are you really taking care of yourself? All of it,
Yeah.
because you can't just take care of one without the other, and I think the gym thing and telling myself in the morning before, I get up, I grab like a bar, like some sort of nutritious bar or whatever, and I hit the gym. If I do that and I wake up into a workout, I'm going to feel good starting out the rest of my day, and I'm going to be a lot healthier than I ever was going to be waking up, doing my day, and then going to the gym and then relaxing. I need to start out with those endorphins. I need to start out with that good vibe, and it kind of changes the motion of my day.
Yeah.
It changes how good that day really is going to be. Maybe in my mind, it changes just the good vibes coming my way from my agent.
Right.
Um, but I think about people that have due to size and what have you that have suffered. And it's like, I don't want to be that guy. If I die, it wanted to be because, you know, I stepped out into traffic or I did something silly, that's how I want it to be. I don't want it to be, on me that I did something wrong to me and I let me go and I forgot me.
Yeah, it's one of those really difficult things to remember. I have it with food and the gym where I feel like I'm just so programmed to for maybe the majority of my life, I simply followed my most base instincts. I want to do drugs, I'm going to do drugs. I want to eat this food, I'm going to eat this food. I don't feel like getting out of bed, I'm not going to get out of bed. And there wasn't a lot of pushback from myself on myself. And now when I wake up and set a goal, which is always for me, get to the gym, um, 6 days a week. Uh, even when I'm like, no, but I don't want to do that right now.
Right, right.
There's the other part where it's like, you're gonna feel better. Even if you're just gonna feel better because there's some part of you that's saying you should do this, and then you do it, and that makes you feel better. You know what I mean? Like my wife likes the bed made. If I sleep later than her and I wake, if if she's the last one in bed, the bed's always made. I've never heard her bitch or moan about making the bed. I just go back in my room at some point and the bed is made perfectly. And for me, when I sleep later, which isn't that often, but it happens sometimes, and she's gone or she's out about doing her day, and I get out of bed and I'm confronted with this mess, there's part of me that's like, I don't want to make the bed, but I know that the minute I start and finish, I will feel like I've accomplished something, which is
Right.
bizarre. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing for the gym. And then you add on top of that the endorphins or whatever physiologically is happening just by moving your body. And it's like, it's just a better way for me to start my day. I don't go in there like I want to hurt myself, which I have done in the past. I want to, you know, set some PR so I can have some number in my head and I'm going to be proud. I bench pressed X amount and I'm this animal, or I'm going to build this massive chest. No, right now I go to the gym because I'm going to feel better. That's it.
Right.
And I
Right.
still have to talk myself into it.
Right. But do you find that it always wins out? You know,
Always.
and it
I've
always wins out
yeah,
because there's no example in your head you go back to and you're like, it was terrible when I went to the gym that day. It was
right.
never terrible.
It was
Whether it's the
never
smile
terrible.
from your wife, from Brandon making the bed, or it's just the smile from leaving the gym, or somebody looking over going, dude, great work,
Yeah,
your fellow gym mates alone, it's just like there's a sense of camaraderie. There's no you lost from going to the gym.
right.
There's just no you lost, and I get that.
No, yeah, I will, other than, my kids are away at school, so I'm mostly alone. My wife has a job, so I don't see her all day. But like on an average day, the only interaction I will have with other people other than my wife is people at the gym. And even then, it's not like we're talking about a whole lot, but it's nice to see another person and say hello. You know what I mean? And we're on strike now. Like, it's fucking crazy that we're like, there's no work to do. There's nothing. We just have to ride it out. And like, what a great time to pick up something like going to the gym.
Exactly. And that was another like precursor to like what do I do with this time? During the pandemic, the first thing I did was I I got together with a buddy of mine and we wrote a cartoon, and then I got all my friends to come in and do voices, and I put it together like a big Zoom meeting, and I was like, this is great and creative and this is fantastic. And I wrote a pilot from this book this guy gave me, and this is fantastic. This time I was like, dude, you do you, because you did all that stuff before, not because you're creative. What? It's because you wanted to sit down and smoke a bunch and have a lot of coffee, which I don't drink as much now that I don't smoke. And it's like you just wanted to be creative. No, you didn't. You wanted to eat and be like, oh, I did something with my day. And you know what? God bless writers and stuff, but I'm not that guy. I really am not. I just like being silly. But in this case, it was like, do something for you, dude.
Yeah.
Make you feel good. And you don't have to like, I weigh exactly the same amount that I weighed when I started going to the gym, but man, do I not feel that way. I mean, like I have muscles. I haven't had muscles in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I don't have like a cleavage that's pronounced. It's like I feel good. And that's all I was going for with this. And it's everybody has different goals, but it's
Yeah.
also seeing those people and seeing it at the gym and seeing that they're accomplishing something too. Because there's people that are there every day that I go in, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's cool. That's great. That's cool that you're doing that. And they're super friendly. They look intense, but when you talk to them, it's like, oh, hey, what's up, man?
Nicest
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Going through the grind. I was like, exactly. All
Well,
right.
and they're there for the same reason. I mean, ultimately, people are at the gym feeling better. That people aren't there to hurt themselves for the most part. Maybe there's a couple masochists in there, but for the most part, everybody recognizes like we're all doing the same thing. It's like if you go to church and you see people at church, you're not going to assume that they're at church for a different reason than you. You're all going to this place trying to achieve something that's in the same ballpark at least.
Exactly. And finding that, I didn't think the first time I went, it was like, I just want to do something, with JD. The first time I went, I was like, I just want to do something. And then little did I know, every time I went, it was just like, yeah, there's not a bad time. I didn't come home from the gym. Even when I was sore in the very beginning, a lot, I was just like, this is good. This is good. This is
Yeah.
hilarious that I can't put a spoon in my mouth because my biceps are so big, bro.
Yeah.
Bro. Trying to name a zero, bro. Can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I,
No.
I appreciate I appreciate the effort that I put into this for myself, which makes me appreciate myself a bit more, and that's that sense of confidence too. I've had a few auditions here or there for during the interim agreement stuff,
Right.
but just to work out and do that and have that different sense of me while I was doing tapes, stuff like that. Now I've decided, in the next couple months is I'm gonna just pick audition parts that I would want to do from films that are already have been done. And I'm gonna do that and see what this different self-confidence brings. Am I going to be gimmicky or am I going to be honest with the work that I'm putting out there? And I think that's always been my biggest problem is fat man fall down, go boom. Um, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy that auditioned for Angus, the
Do,
sincerity.
do you think that is like a disguise or a distraction, or do you know what I mean? Like, is because I have versions of that too, where it's like I don't want you to see what I think you're seeing, so I'm going to show you something else.
1,000%. And it's kind of like a bug towards a windshield, isn't it, Ethan? I mean, you're just like, oh, I don't want to be doing this. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I did it. Why did I do that? How do I get out of
No, and
this now?
I think once you get into the habit of that, that's just what you go to. You know what I mean?
For 30 years,
Yeah.
for 30 years, and there's times when I've been more recently, since I moved to the Southeast, and I work in LA and I work in New York and stuff like that. And I keep a place here and there. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I have found myself being more honest, but still there's another level that I'm trying to that I know that I can get to by going to the gym, by being better to myself, by realizing that it doesn't matter what everybody else feels about me. It matters what I feel about me, whether I'm auditioning, whether I'm interacting with people, or whether I'm just being me and I'm just going for a walk in my neighborhood or I'm out on a boat or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I have to trust that me is good enough for all of these things because me got me here,
Yeah.
even though some of that was blatantly a lie as a performer, as a funny man, fat guy fall down, go boom. I knew what I was doing and I did, like you said, I orchestrated that.
Yeah.
And I'm mad at myself for doing that, but I'm realizing how to turn that around just from focus time.
Yeah.
Maybe on the treadmill, the steps, just that focus time going, think about it, dude. If I get an audition, I always go to the gym beforehand. Because not only am I working that out, my brain is working itself out, and I'm like, those endorphins are kicking in, and the serotonin's kicking in, and I'm just like, okay, this feels good. This feels good. Be smaller. That feels good too, you know. And then I go and I trust myself when I go to work.
Yeah. I really do believe that we are I don't believe we're ever static. I think we're either evolving or we're regressing. I really do. And I think that for me, and it sounds like for you too, just maintaining is progressing, because for forever there was the idea of being able to maintain my weight was impossible. Like just that alone, I was always gaining weight in a really pretty fast manner. And so just finding some situation where I'm like, no, I'm happy with myself. Like I don't have anxiety about my body in the way that I used to. And I go to the gym because it makes me feel better. And this is great. That is totally moving in the right direction for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Amen. As you're talking, like I said, I was listening to a few of the later episodes of your show, and what I was hearing was certain things that I was recognizing, even when the last interview I listened to with you and Will, the things we were doing to maintain in those times and how we were feeling. I don't need that anymore. You know, and I wish I know, you know, I wish I knew now what it, you know, or
Yeah.
then what I know now. And I would, you know, even when I was going to the gym a bunch back in the day, that was before my transition to moving out here. And I was doing all these weird comedies where it's like, oh, you like me, I'm funny, you know. And I realized when I came out here, I was like, that's not who I want to be. And then when I met with my agent down here, Fiona, her and LT, I started talking to them, and I said, look, I don't want to be picked because I'm fat. I just want to be picked because I'm Charlie. I'm your
Right.
average guy. I'm the guy that's going through this stuff. How do we get there? And I even had to adjust that too. Most of the roles that I auditioned for when I first came out here were 50 to 60-year-old by my request. And
Wow.
I started booking because when I started going out for stuff in my range, all they wanted was fat Charlie, funny
Yeah.
Charlie. And so I said, why don't we let them see what I can do in more serious roles? And then I ended up booking other roles because of it, because I wasn't coming in and reading for that stuff. And that was the trickiest part, was breaking the mold, because really this is what I do. You know, this is what we do. This is what we do for a living, lifeblood, our heart, our passion, you know, and if we feel good going into it, oh my God. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Just waiting for this interview to start, for the first 2 seconds, I was like, oh, it's been long since, how's everything? And then I was like, dude, it's Ethan. He's always been dope.
We're,
I'm like,
we're just chatting.
oh yeah, yeah, we're just chatting. It's not a callback. You're just hanging out with your bro. I was like, all
Right.
right, yeah. That happened in the span of like 5 seconds. All of
Yeah.
those emotions, and I was like, yeah, okay, be you, dude. You know, and just have fun. You know, and I come out of the gate strong with like the heaviest story I possibly could. But it's because it's like, you know, this is what's leading me to this moment here, where it's like we're chatting, we're talking about how to be healthy with yourself and your mind and your body, and I really appreciate
No,
and I
absolutely,
appreciate you
Troy.
sharing.
Yeah,
Right?
and thank you for sharing that story. I didn't know that about Blake, and that's very touching. He was always such a sweet guy. He is such a sweet guy. I saw him this year, I think. Yeah, I saw him this year for the first time in many years, and I'm it's just nice when you hear about somebody you think highly of to get even more, you know what I mean?
It was weird. I gotta tell you, when I talked to him about it, it was definitely like a shock to his system to come at somebody like that. But I didn't know if I was ever gonna have another chance. You
Right.
know, from that movie to seeing him years later at the, I can't remember what it, Zen Garden or something, no, Spaceland in Los Feliz, and it was just like, yeah, I gotta tell you, dude, you did a mitzvah for me, and it's heavy stuff, but thank you, you know, for being
Yeah.
you, because I'm here now and I get to do all this stuff and I get to enjoy these people, and now I'm really getting to enjoy myself.
Yeah. Charlie, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation.
Dude, this has been my pleasure and my honor.
All right. Talk to you soon.